I want to talk about a psychological method that I have developed over the past few years and that has shown very good results. I test it on myself every day. I work with it and I want to share it with you. So, the goal of this method is very simple: to feel good. To feel good regardless of what is happening around you. No matter what events are happening around you, good or bad, what stimuli, positive or negative, the body receives. You feel good, stable at any moment, without mood swings, without things being good one moment and bad the next, without these cycles, but instead, you feel consistently good in any situation, able to find a way to feel confident in your own space and to feel, in short, to feel good. That's it. I'll talk about the ideas this is based on, and I'll share a few techniques and exercises that help turn this method into a skill that works automatically. For me, it already works automatically. I worked on it for quite a long time, about a year and a half, I think. And it keeps developing, improving, getting better and better. But now it already, in most cases, it works automatically. I think that if, roughly speaking, I had watched the video I'm about to record for you now a year and a half ago and had followed it exactly, I would have achieved these results in just a couple or 3 months. Much faster, probably. But because I had to piece everything together myself, consult with psychologists, read books, and experiment a lot on myself and observe others, it took me more time. I wouldn't be surprised if, for people who have never practiced any psychological techniques in their lives, some of these methods might seem a bit new. But I am sure that everyone can benefit from them. I'll start with what these ideas are based on, and at the same time, I will recommend certain practices and exercises that will help turn these things into automatic habits. One of the most important pillars is that a person should know themselves well, what is called mindfulness. At any given moment, a person should be able to look inside themselves and understand what state they are in. It's not necessarily about being able to give an answer or write it down on paper. What it's called isn't that important. The main thing is that a person's inner states shouldn't surprise them, that they are always in harmony with themselves. How to achieve this? I suggest doing this, and this is how I did it for myself, through bodily awareness. That's what I call it. What do I mean by that? I noticed when I was working with my own states, I noticed that any state, no matter what it is, positive, negative, anxious, happy, whatever, it always not only is accompanied by, but actually seems to be based on and supported by bodily sensations, by some kind of physical feeling. I noticed that if we break down emotions, and there are many psychological states, well, let's say we are working specifically on emotions. For me, they always seem to be anchored somewhere in the body, like in this particular area. I understand that this might sound a bit strange and make you wonder how an emotion can be in the body. But if you try this exercise at any moment, just take yourself, sit down calmly, and even out your breathing. Make your breathing steady and calm, not too deep, not too shallow, not too fast, not too slow. Steady. The main thing is that there are no pauses in it. Calm, steady breathing. You will notice that there is always something in your body that accompanies your mood. And you need to be familiar with these feelings inside. What can these feelings tell you? These feelings can tell you that, for example, let me give you a more concrete example. For a long time, I really disliked and still don't like waking up early to an alarm in the morning, but there was a time when it was just a disaster for me. Impossible. I would wake up with a feeling of panic. I'm not joking. That is, I had a terrible feeling of anxiety, almost a panic attack. My heart would race and I had no desire at all. It was actually a really horribly depressive state in many ways. Probably leaning more towards anxiety. Given the racing heart and the overall tension, it was a terrible state. And with it, first and foremost, I wanted to figure out this state, to put an end to it, because sometimes you have to get up early. That's it. So what did I do? I turned my attention inward and looked for what in my body was accompanying this state. And I noticed that yes, there was something This state is accompanied by sensations in the body, as I said, right here in the chest, like an unpleasant knot, very much like a vortex. It spins and pulls all the vital energy inward, draining all my strength. Again, I am a very rational person, basically a materialist. I know there are no internal energies or flows inside the body. It's all painted by our imagination. But that doesn't mean we should reject it. We need to walk hand in hand with our imagination. I know that everything happening in my body is just physiological processes. There's no such thing as energy. It doesn't exist. But at the same time, there are these sensations that shouldn't be ignored. And just about a week ago, this happened to me again. And in literally less than a minute, I figured out what was going on. As a result, I decided to record this video because I was so amazed by this outcome, by the change that happened to me, because just a year and a half ago, maybe I would have just been lying there. Actually, not maybe, I remember how it was. I would just lie there and wait for it to pass because, well, aside from lying there and waiting and not understanding what was happening, I had no other choice. When I started working and gradually developed my own method, now I've reached the point where, literally within a few seconds, everything happens completely automatically. I turn my attention inward. I steady my breathing. I understand what's happening in my physical and emotional body, as perhaps people into esoterics would say. And one of the most important conclusions is that there was nothing bad in this state. That is, there was nothing to worry about, nothing to be afraid of. And when I became familiar with this state, my awareness increased and my anxiety disappeared because this state had absolutely nothing with which to frighten me, especially after I looked at it closely. By working only with this for several months, I am sure you will go very far, and perhaps you won't even want or need to watch what comes in the next few minutes. I want to talk about those things. Perhaps you don't need them because you will discover them on your own, but I will tell you anyway. Just as you can remove negative states with this method, you can also cultivate more positive ones. And this is something that has started happening to me more and more often now, and I notice that the states I want to cultivate within myself, absolutely. You can also turn inward, observe what corresponds to these states in your body, get acquainted with this feeling, and these states will arise within you on their own, because the psyche, I truly believe, our psyche strives for the good. And then, when you show it with your cognitive processes where these right good states are located, those states in which your psyche feels good, when you show it how to achieve them, it will gladly do it on its own. It will become automatic, just like people type without looking. If they type a lot on the keyboard, they no longer need to look. At this level, it will become ingrained in your memory and will happen automatically. Right now, I'm reading one of the most interesting scientific articles I've read in a long time. In general, it's one of the most fascinating reads I've had in quite a while. I'm reading an article dedicated to autobiographical memory and how it is connected to personality. I'll be recording a video about this soon because I have found within myself, in my autobiographical memory, states that I want to cultivate, that I like, that make me feel good. And I have learned to retrieve them from the past and experience them again, to make them real and to stay in these states all the time. And one of the most important discoveries that this method has brought me is that I no longer need to look for external stimuli in order to feel good. Just a year ago, I thought that in order to feel good, I needed everyone around me to love me. Well, I'm exaggerating, but still, I thought I had to do the hardest work, take on the most difficult tasks, try to please myself with something that would come from the outside. I'm sure each of us can find many more similar examples. Narcissistic traits, let's put it that way. Traits where, in order to feel good, I need some kind of external stimulus. The main lesson I learned from my method is that you don't need an external stimulus. Everything you need is already inside you. And once you learn how to draw this out from within yourself and teach your psyche to be in a place where it feels good on its own, without external stimuli, all external stimuli will bring you even more joy. Negative external stimuli will affect you less and pull you to the negative side less often. So that's how it is. Now I'll finish reading the article and record the next video. In the meantime, I wish you good luck and highly, highly recommend that you try the method I talked about. I'm not sure I managed to describe it in its entirety. If people like it, if you watch the video and ask questions, I might record another video where I go over it in more detail. Separately, each of these elements, how to look inside yourself, how to look into the past and retrieve what you need from there. Well, we'll see. This is my first video, so I'm really curious to see if people will watch it, if there will be any reactions, if the audience will respond. So, good luck. Take care of yourselves.